Hey everybody, here with another pickup video. It's gonna be all modern games or current generation games, and it's also gonna be I'm gonna be showing my newest addition to handhelds, which is the PlayStation Vita. I was able to get a pretty good deal on the Vita. Actually, I got it for free because my girlfriend, she was in need of a new laptop, and Sony.com had this offer where if you bought a new Sony Vaio Ultrabook, you would get a free PlayStation Vita. So we took advantage of the offer. She was in need of a computer, and she really liked the Ultrabook Vaio. So I jumped in and I told her, please get the PlayStation Vita offer, and I'm actually pretty happy with the handheld itself. It's pretty sleek, sexy, good piece of hardware. It has some of the flaws that I don't like are the trigger buttons are not as good as I hoped. Also the regular buttons, the four face buttons here, they're a little bit smaller. I personally prefer the size of the PSP buttons, so hopefully in a revision they're gonna take note of that. And also another annoying thing is the speakers are pretty close to the sticks, so sometimes while playing the game you actually cover the speakers with your thumb, which obviously modifies the sound, which is not good. But other than that, the D-pad is pretty good. It's pretty clicky and pretty good for games that make use of it. Volume control is pretty handy and available. The touchscreen works pretty well. The touchscreen is amazing. They're very responsive. I already have a few games that I'm going to be showing in this pickup, and I also have I'm going to start by showing, I guess, my digital purchases. I got the Pinball Arcade because I'm a big pinball fan, and it's a pretty fun game. It's only, I think it's only like $10, and it comes with 4 tables. I already have the Williams Hall of Fame pinball for the PlayStation 3. So some of the tables are repeated in this Pinball Arcade version. But the good thing is that it has a lot of downloadable content, which of course you have to pay. But if you're a big pinball fan, I mean, it doesn't get better than this. I mean, the pinball tables are faithfully reproduced. So like I said, if you're a pinball fan, get it. And another advantage of buying the Pinball Arcade for the Vita is that you also get the PlayStation 3 version. So that's good. I mean, if you're a trophy hunter or fan, it's a good chance to have duplicates and up your trophy count, I guess. I'm not really into that, but it's good to have that option. And then the other 2 games that I have digital version is 2 free games. One of them is Treasure of Montezuma Returns or whatever, which is a puzzle game, which I'm not really a big fan of. And the other one is Motorstorm RC. Again, it's another free game. It's not great. I only played for about like an hour or so. I'm not a big fan of it, but whatever. It was free, so why not? And the cool thing is, it has a lot of demos available, so it makes your purchases that easier. The PlayStation Store has a lot of demos, unlike the eShop from Nintendo, where you have to like wait a week and they release only 1 demo. So it's pretty accessible. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the Vita. Definitely, I think it's worth it. For $250, I think it's worth it. A lot of people are saying the Vita has no games or whatever, but it has a pretty decent library. Especially the launch games. I thought it was one of the best launch lineups ever. So it has been a little bit dry since then, but I think towards the end of this year, when Little Big Planet, both Little Big Planet for Vitas come out, and Persona, and then you have the All-Star Battle Royale, and some Assassin's Creed. Some games are coming for it, so keep an eye on the Vita. And speaking of Vita, I'm gonna show you the games that I got for it. I got Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and of course I had to get the retail because I like to have the physical box. And it's very disappointing because Vita games don't have manuals, at least most of them, as far as I'm concerned. So it's very disappointing. And in regards to the game, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed. I was expecting a whole lot more, especially coming from Tatsunoko vs. Capcom on the Wii, which I did not have any hopes for the game because I don't know who the Tatsunoko characters are or where, because it's some Japanese comic characters that I never heard of in my life. So I had no hope for the game, but I actually ended up liking a lot. The fighting mechanism is great, the characters, the movements, it's pretty fluid. And Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it's okay, but I don't know, for some reason I just played it for like an hour and I already got bored. And not to mention the final boss in this game, Galactus, is so cheap. Like, it reminds me of like Seth in Street Fighter 4 and some of those SNK fighters last bosses. It's pretty frustrating. It takes a while to beat him. I wish it was a little bit easier because I'm not in the mood for a challenge. Like, I'm just looking to beat the game. I just want to see the characters' endings. I want to unlock some of the artwork or whatever you do after beating the game. So, but at the same time, I don't want the game to be a breeze through it, So I think that Tatsunoko vs. Capcom did a very good job for a non-hardcore fighting fan like me, The difficulty in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was, I think, pretty good. Once you got to the last, boss, it was pretty manageable. You didn't have to retry like a billion times in order to win. But then again, I haven't put too much time into the game, so maybe I will later on. And then the other game that I got is Rayman Origins. Amazon.com had this game for 20 bucks and I just couldn't pass it up. It's a great game. I have to admit, this is my first game in the Origins series. I know that both the PlayStation 3 and 360 version, they got a lot of praise when they got released last year, but I never had the time or the intention to pick them up, and I figured since my girlfriend and I really liked the demo, we were gonna buy it. I bought it for her actually as a gift. She's not a gamer, but for some reason she liked the demo for the Vita that we downloaded, so I bought it for her. And it's an amazing platformer. I can see why the game got critically acclaimed. By the reviews were really good for the game. I highly recommend it. Looks great on the Vita. It has pretty good functionality with the touchscreen. You can defeat enemies or pop the bubbles with the touchscreen. So I think it adds a whole lot. And I'm not saying it's the definite version, but you can't go wrong if you buy this. And the next one is so far my favorite Vita game. Granted, I haven't played a whole lot of them, but it's Gravity Rush. And in my opinion, this is probably the best Vita game right now. I already beat the game. I'm working my way getting the Platinum Trophy, so I'm looking into beating the challenges. I already beat like half of them. They're pretty hard, or some of them are. And but anyways, the game is really good. A lot of people are complaining that the game gets a little bit repetitive in the sense that the missions are very similar, and I agree with them. But personally, the repetitiveness of the missions never got in my way of enjoying the game. What kept me playing the game was pretty much the story and the parts of the city that you keep unlocking throughout the game. The game has an incredible art direction, And when you couple that with you know, the charm of the characters, the mysterious story behind the game, and add to that an amazing soundtrack, you know, in my opinion, it's a very good Vita game. Definitely a must-have, in my opinion, for all the people that own the Vita. But you know, I was surprised to see a lot of people complain about the game. I can understand where they're coming from, because a lot of the missions are pretty similar. They revolve around, you know, just defeating a bunch of enemies, and the mechanics behind the game, which are, you know, you use gravity to your advantage. Sometimes it can get really frustrating when you're trying to aim for a particular enemy or spot in the map, and you know, you tell your character, which is Cat, to go to that particular spot. Sometimes she would miss hitting an enemy, and the camera goes, you know, ballistic and all over the place. So there's a lot of room for improvement for a sequel, which I think is pretty much a given, because of the story. The game leaves you with a lot of open questions to at the end. So, you know, I'm not gonna say what happens, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but definitely, hopefully someday we will see a former sequel. Unfortunately, I don't think the game is doing that great, because the Vita is not doing great sales-wise. So hopefully, you know, people buy the game, because I want to see a sequel, definitely. Then the next two games are Nintendo 3DS. The first one is Star Fox 64 3D. And the reason I got this is, well, I already played the original one to death. I played that game so many times. I unlocked, you know, I played every level a billion times. I think I unlocked most of the medals back in the day, which are pretty hard. And it was just a nostalgia impulse buy, I guess. And I'm happy with it because I think they did a really good job in improving the graphics. The game does much improved. I'm a little bit disappointed in how Nintendo treated the multiplayer component of the game, because, I mean, come on, Nintendo, add online next time. I mean, it has local multiplayer, but I mean, it's such a pain in the butt, you know. You know, sometimes I just feel like, I mean, I don't have access. It's not like I can knock on my neighbor's door and ask him, hey, can we play Star Fox? I mean, not everybody has a 3DS. That's my point. So, you know, we're in the online age, and I think Nintendo is actually doing a fairly decent, good job with the you know, eShop structure. They're improving a lot in that regard, so they definitely need to step up. So for the Wii U, hopefully, you know, we're not gonna have the same issue. But the multiplayer is a big disappointment. The single player it's unchanged pretty much. You know, the graphics changed, they're better. The textures changed, they're better. But I don't know. It felt a little bit dated when I played the game, because maybe it's just me being a little bit rusty on the game. I used to be an expert at this game because I played it so much on the Nintendo 64. But I felt a little bit rusty. I felt like the flying mechanics are a little bit dated. I had a lot of problems aiming and hitting enemies. Like, I remember I used to be, you know, I would aim and hit the enemies within a nanosecond. But now I had some problems, and I beat the game doing the easiest path, which is the bottom one. You start in Corneria, and you work your way down the lowest part of the map, and I died quite a bunch of times, which is, it would have been unheard of, you know, many years ago when the original was released back in '97. But, you know, mechanics feel a little bit dated, but other than that, I'm happy I picked it up. It's good to fire an old classic up every now and then. Next game is Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure. This game is pretty much a combination of Professor Layton and rhythm type games like Rhythm Fever or Rhythm Heaven. It's a really fun game. I bought this on day one because I played the demo and I loved the demo. And the actual game, if you have a 3DS, download the demo. But the demo is actually pretty bare bones because the demo only gives you, I think, three rhythm mini games that you can play. But the actual game is, it's much more complete. Like you have a lot of exploration to do in the game, similar to Professor Layton. You get to different screens, and when you get to a different screen, you need to tap the screen pretty much everywhere with your stylus to get coins and to get other secret items. That can be tedious for some people, but for me, I don't mind doing that. The game also has puzzle solving. It's not only just rhythm games. You will reach points where you have to solve puzzles. And the game has an amazing presentation. I gotta give it to them, to Sega. Amazing presentation. The game has a lot of cutscenes that are in like anime style, cinematics. Really cool. The story it's interesting. It's not great, but it's pretty interesting. I already put 7.5 hours, and I haven't beaten the game yet. So I'm taking my way slowly through the game, enjoying trying to find all the coins and hidden items on the screens. So if you have a 3DS and download the demo, and if you like the demo, get the game soon rather than later, because this game is getting really hard to find. Like I have a friend that wants to pick it up, and GameStop doesn't have it anymore. It's almost like they had like a first run of the game, and it got sold out so quickly that they're not gonna restock anymore. So I get the feeling that this is gonna be one of those uncommon, I'm not gonna say rare, but uncommon games on the future for the 3DS, and it's gonna be nice to have this in your collection if you're a game collector. I get that feeling. I get the game is gonna drive up in price in a few years considerably, in my opinion. We'll see. And the next two games I got during the summer sale for Best Buy. One of them is Assassin's Creed Revelations. I got this for $10. I never got into the Assassin's Creed series. I played the first one for about half an hour at a friend's house. I thought it was okay, but for $9 I just couldn't pass this up, and I was actually a little bit I shouldn't say excited, but I was interested in what Ubisoft showed at E3 with the new Assassin's Creed for the Vita and for the upcoming Assassin's Creed game for the Wii U. The game looked good, it looked fun, so I thought maybe I should give this one a try for $10, see if I like it, and if I like it I might, delve into the series with either the Vita version or the Wii U version later on. Which also it's also coming out for the PS3, but if I get, I'll probably get the Wii version if I like it, because it's gonna have the touch controls, and I don't know. But yeah, I'll give this one a shot. I haven't started the game yet. I have to clear some of my hard drive space for PlayStation 3, so once I do that, I'll install that game, because according to the box, it requires a 3.6 gigabyte hard drive installation. So my 80 gig fat PS3 right here is it's about to explode, so I have to clear some room on it. And the last game I'm gonna show you is Operation Raccoon City, Resident Evil. This game got a lot of bad reviews, a lot of hate from fans, and personally I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. It's my second most favorite series after The Legend of Zelda. So it was $15. I had to pick it up for $15 just to have it in my collection, because I love Resident Evil, and for $15, why not? I haven't played the game yet. I have a friend, he's also pretty big Resident Evil fan, and he told me, you know, once he gets some money, he's gonna buy the game. So we're gonna play it together because the game has, it's pretty heavily focused on online, I think, online multiplayer. So, you know, I'm gonna wait for my friend to buy the game. We're gonna play it together. I know it's gonna be bad. I'm preparing myself mentally. I already know it's gonna be bad. When the game got announced and they revealed the story, I could already tell it's a joke. I mean, look at the guys that you play with. They're supposed to be like this umbrella special tactical group or whatever. It's so unrealistic. The game takes place in July of '98, which is when the Resident Evil 2 happens, and it's so unrealistic. You can see these guys, they're all like a bunch of Slipknot wannabes with masks, and they have all these cool technological gadgets that are impossible for the like stealth suits and stuff like that. That I know it's a video game, I know it's the Resident Evil universe, but you know, it just doesn't fit quite well in the series. I also heard that when the game was announced, they mentioned that, you know, you can change the or affect the storyline of the Resident Evil, and you can actually go and kill Leon Kennedy. Like, why would Capcom do that? I mean, I know it's canon and all that, but I mean, come on. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the fact that they came out with this game, I mean, it was completely unnecessary, but it paid off pretty well for Capcom, because I think I read an article today that the game shipped or sold 2.1 million copies. So for a crappy game like this to sell 2 million copies, it has to be a success for Capcom, and which is unfortunate. You know, games like this don't deserve to sell that well. I mean, you have much better games like Resident Evil Revelations for the 3DS, which I think it sold decently in Japan. It didn't sell that well in the US, but you know, that kind of game deserves 2 million sales, not this piece of crap. But this is more like a bro game. It's geared towards the bro crowd, you know, the just aim and shoot and string action, online multiplayer. And after all, the developer of this game is the one behind the SOCOM games, so you know, it's bound to have that bro following or crowd behind it. So who knows? I'll give it a shot. Maybe it's fun. Maybe I'm gonna have fun with it. But I already know that, you know, I'm not in agreement with the story or how the game develops. So we'll see. I mean, and I have some Resident Evil 4 playing in the background, just in case you guys, you know, get bored of watching me. You can, you know, get distracted watching a little bit of that. But anyways, thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for more videos.